and Masquerade here, and basically today I have another video for you guys. And in today's class, we're gonna be discussing a paper called Socialization and Hegemonic Power by John Eikenberry and Charles A. Kupchan. So I hope you guys are ready. Grab some food or snacks, because we're really gonna go and talk about the notion that socialization plays in creating hegemonies and powers both at a national and at a global international level as well. So before we get into it, let's first start off by explaining what these terms mean. So a hegemony is the political, economic, or military predominance or control of one state over others. Socialization is the process of internalizing the norms and ideologies of society. So, hegemony at the state levels exists and is maintained. Power is directly related to the command of material resources. Acquiescence is the result of coercion. Inducements and sanctions are used by the hegemon to ensure that secondary states prefer cooperation to non cooperation. And another key factor in this process is that elites in secondary states buy into and internalize norms that are articulated by the hegemon and therefore pursue policies consistent with the hegemon's notion of international order. The exercise of power and hence the mechanism through which compliance is achieved involves the projection by the hegemon of a set of norms and their embrace by leaders in other nations. It is really important for a hegemon to make sure that the leaders of a particular nation accept their ideology or accept their hegemony, so that they in turn can keep recreating the hegemony. Elite receptivity to the norms articulated by the hegemon is essential to the socialization process. Norms may first take root among the populace, but they must then spread to the elite level if they are to have important effects on state behavior. When socialization does occur, it comes about primarily in the wake of the coercive exercise of power. There are two basic ways in which a hegemonic nation can exercise power and secure the acquiescence of other nations. The first is by manipulating material incentives through threats of punishment or promises of reward. The hegemon alters the political or economic incentives facing other states. This could even be in terms of sanctions or trade embargoes or anti state policies or not recognizing states to be legitimate. And this manipulation of material incentives induces policy change that is congenial with hegemonic order. In effect, the hegemon exercises power by using sanctions and inducements to change the costs and benefits that other states face in pursuing particular policies. The second basic way in which a hegemonic nation can exercise power is by altering the substantive beliefs of leaders in other nations. Hegemonic control emerges when foreign elites buy into the hegemon's vision of international order and accept it as their own. That is, when they internalize the norms and value orientations espoused by the hegemon and accept its normative claims about the nature of the international system. This could be in terms of different sort of market systems being adopted globally, different sort of state election processes being adopted globally, what kind of social mechanism governs societies, and if that has a collective consensus, that is a form of an international system which is being supported by different states globally. In theoretical terms, broadening our understanding of hegemonic power to include socialization will lead to new insights into how order emerges and evolves in the international system. This, in order to elaborate a bit more on this, all of this order is created, and then the systems within society, they essentially recreate it. And by doing so, the way they do it is through the process of the national curriculum, which has a set of hidden curriculum, the sort of information which is deeply intertwined within the curriculum that people study. And this in turn creates individuals that end up replicating the hegemony present behind the national curriculum, behind state policies, behind the kinds of education which is governing the education institutes. And all of this is done through the process of socialization, which happens at a primary age, which in turn does lead to long term impacts, which we see in state level policies. Moving on, the hegemon can expend fewer economic and military resources to secure acquiescence because there is a more fundamental correspondence of values and interests. So, as a hegemon, it is very difficult to constantly keep pouring in resources in terms of economics and military powers to ensure a collective identity or collective values and interests. But through the process of socialization, you can create societies and you can create governments and policies which keep replicating the ideas that people wish to dominate others with. This added dimension of hegemonic power can also explain why the ordering principles and norms of a given system are not isomorphic with changes in the relative distribution of military and economic capability within that system. Socialization also plays a key role in developing international relations as these ideas and policies get internalized and reorganized to fit the state narratives. Different countries and different nation states adopt different policies, and with that, different state propagandas get spread both locally, domestically, and internationally. And the process that plays the biggest role in here is socialization. We see real world examples within world history with regards to how different states reacted to World War One and Two and the different policies that followed suit, with changes in rhetoric, media, and narratives. We see it in the colonial state and states that are going through decolonialism. The example of India as a British colony, the British didn't use brute force to take over India. It started as the East India Company that slowly grew within the land, changed narratives and mindsets, and even gathered natives within its ranks and used divide and rule policies to turn the locals against one another. Again, over here, we do not see brute force, we do not see bronze as a means of taking over the subcontinent, but it is socialization that is playing a key factor. The British rule in the subcontinent lasted for centuries due to its pervasive nature that socialized others through the colonial machinery. To conclude, a very underrated part of hegemonic power is indeed socialization. What we read, what we are taught, and how we are taught. The things we can ask, and more importantly, what we cannot ask, greatly shape us as individuals and collectively as a society. When we can question certain narratives and we can't question certain institutions, certain political powers, or certain historical uh, narratives of our own society or our countries, we see that the socialization around us is deeply shaping us and it's shaping the hegemony that is over us. In particular, socialization leads to the legitimation of hegemonic power in a way that allows international order to be maintained without the constant threat of coercion. The process of being socialized in turn shapes our policies both domestic and international. So it is crucial to be mindful of our socialization. So what what we've discussed today is the fact that we really need to be mindful of our socialization process, of the kind of books and media that we intake, and whether or not we're critical about it. That is to use this information for good. But if we are to not use that, and if we are the hegemons, then what we can take from this lecture is that this and this is certainly not as deadly as this. Thanks for watching.